My child, this day did not have to lead you here. You could have kept rushing from one task to another, filling every hour with the noise and pressure of life. Yet something made you stop. Something inside you became quiet enough to listen. That pause was not random. It was not your own idea alone. It was me drawing your attention because I am speaking to you now. I am not speaking to a crowd. I am speaking to you personally, exactly where you are in this moment. I see the heaviness in your heart. I know the questions that keep moving through your mind. I know the hope you have been afraid to say out loud because you fear it may disappoint you again. I am speaking into that hidden place. The burden you have carried has never been invisible to me. You have walked into this moment carrying more than the people around you understand. You have been handling worries that begin as soon as you open your eyes. You have been living with a kind of tiredness that sleep cannot fully heal. You have felt a quiet emptiness inside you where joy, confidence, and peace once lived. My child, you have been surviving, but I did not create you only to survive. I created you for a life filled with my peace, my strength, and my presence. Part of you already knows this. Do not ignore that deep feeling inside you. That ache is not weakness. It is your soul telling the truth. It is the part of you that knows life was not meant to feel this heavy all the time. You were made for more than the pressure you have been enduring. I am not offended by that longing. I am answering it. I did not create you to live under this weight. I created you to live in peace. Not a temporary peace that only appears when everything works out and then disappears as soon as trouble returns. I created you for a deeper peace, a steady peace, the kind that remains even when circumstances are still uncertain. That kind of peace is not rooted in what is around you. It is rooted in me. You have searched for peace in outcomes, in people, in answers, and in situations that have not yet changed. When those places failed to give you what you needed, you kept going anyway. You played through. You endured. But I did not bring you here today just to tell you to keep pushing. I brought you here to tell you that something has shifted. Declare your amen if you believe this word is touching your spirit today. My child, there is a deep place inside you that is quieter than your thoughts and stronger than your emotions. It is beyond the reach of the noise that has surrounded you for so long. That place has always known my voice, even when your mind was too crowded to hear me clearly. I am speaking to that place right now. I am not far away. I am not above your problems without caring about them. I am closer to you than your own breath. You have sometimes believed that I am beyond your reach. You thought you had to fix your life first, strengthen your faith first, or make your heart cleaner before you could come close to me. You believed my nearness had to be earned. But my child, that was never true. I did not make you fight your way to me. I came to you first. I have always come to you. I did not come because your faith was perfect. I did not come because your prayers were flawless. I did not come because your record was clean. I came because you belong to me. I do not abandon what is mine. Something brought you to this message today. You may call it chance, a passing moment, or the restless movement of a tired mind. But I tell you, anything that brings a heart closer to my voice is not accidental. I place this moment before you as an appointment. Heaven does not work by accident when it comes to the ones it loves. The world around you is loud. It fills every space with urgency, comparison, pressure, and constant noise. It crowds the quiet places before you can rest in them. You have lived in that noise for so long that stillness now feels strange. Sometimes when things become quiet, you feel as if something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. Stillness is where I have been waiting for you. Stillness is where I speak without competition. It is where the truth I have spoken over your life can finally reach your heart without being drowned out. So stay with me here. Let this moment become more than words passing through a tired mind. Let it become a meeting between your soul and my presence. Let what I am saying enter the places where you have been running on empty. Let it reach the parts of you that have been quietly losing their grip on hope. I have something to say to those places. What I speak today will change the way you move forward from this hour. My beloved child, every road you have traveled, every season that shaped you, every detour you did not choose, and every chapter you would not have written for yourself has been seen by me. I have not lost track of you. I have not set you aside. You have been before me the whole time. Even when you felt most invisible, you were never invisible to me. You did not arrive here by mistake. Heaven called you here. Heaven called you because something in your life is about to shift. Stay with me. There is more I need you to hear. My child, the noise of the world does not only surround you on the outside, it can also settle inside you. Old arguments replay in your mind. Memories return without permission. Fear speaks at the exact moment you are trying to be strong. You have listened to those voices for so long that they have started to sound reasonable. They have even started to sound wise. But I tell you now, not every loud voice is telling the truth, and not every quiet voice should be ignored. I have often spoken quietly. I have been the calm presence beneath your restlessness. I have been the peace that kept returning even when you expected it to disappear. I have remained steady through every season of your life, and I am steady now. My child, I want to teach you how I speak because the world has taught you a lie. It has told you that a trustworthy voice must be loud. It has told you that power must announce itself. It has told you that divine authority should shake the room and remove every doubt. You have waited for thunder, but I often come like the first light of morning entering a dark room. Not dramatic, not forceful, just present, gentle, and growing. A prophet once stood on a mountain before me. A great wind came, strong enough to tear rocks apart. And there was shaking. Then there was fire. But after all of that passed, my voice came as something still and gentle, something only a listening heart could hear. I was not absent from the storm, but my voice was found in the whisper. My beloved child, I do not withhold thunder because I lack authority. I come gently because I honor the soul I am speaking to. I do not need to overwhelm you to reach you. I do not need to shake the ground beneath your feet to prove that I am near. The deepest part of you does not open through force. It opens through love, and love knows how to enter quietly. This is why I am asking you to slow down, not as punishment, not to delay your blessing. I am asking you to slow down because the place where I meet you most deeply is not found on the surface of a rushing life. It is found in the quiet room beneath all the movement. It is the place where your defense is lower, where the performance stops, and where you no longer have to pretend that you are coping when you are not. That is where I do my deepest work. That is where I am meeting you right now. There is something I want to show you. Long ago, on a quiet night, a young boy named Samuel was resting in the temple. The lamp had not gone out. The house was still. In that stillness, I called his name. I did not call him in front of a crowd. I did not begin with a display of power. I came in the ordinary darkness of a quiet house where one name could be heard clearly. My child, that is often how I begin. I call in hidden places, when no one else is watching, when the soul is quiet enough to be touched by something beyond the ordinary world. When Samuel heard my call, He did not understand it at first. He ran to Ali because he thought a human voice had spoken. You learned how to understand with you. I did not reject him because he misunderstood me the first time. I called again. I called again and again. Each time he rose and returned confused. He was being drawn closer to recognition. The call was not wasted simply because he did not understand it immediately. My beloved child, I have been calling you in ways you have not always recognized. I called you through a quiet conviction that kept returning even when you tried to silence it. I called you through doors that closed and refused to reopen, even when you pushed with all your strength. I called you through a peace that remained in you during a season where peace did not make sense. I called you through a longing, not only for things, but for something more real than what the world had been offering. That was my voice, speaking through your life. Do not be hard on yourself for the times you mistook my voice for something else. Samuel was close to me in the temple, and he still needed to hear the call several times before he understood. A listening heart grows through the process of being called. It does not only grow after it understands everything. There is something holy about becoming available before you know what will be asked of you. Many people only want to hear from me if my answer confirms what they already want. Many say they want direction, but they resist the quiet place where direction is given. They want a voice that fits their schedule, their plans, and their expectations. But I do not shape my voice around your expectations. I invite your heart to come where I already am. Samuel's simple response changed everything. The words were not complicated. He said, "Speak, Lord, for I am listening." What mattered was not the beauty of the sentence. What mattered was the availability of his heart. He was not performing. He was not pretending to understand everything. He was simply present before me. That was enough. My child, the same availability is enough from you. You do not need polished words. You do not need perfect certainty. You do not need faith that has never stumbled. You only need to become present. A quiet yes can open what years of striving could not. A sincere "here I am" can become the start of a new chapter in your life. Samuel's path of learning to hear, trust, and carry my word began in one quiet night with one honest response. Your path forward is similar. It does not begin with more pressure. It begins with more surrender. It does not begin by becoming louder. It begins by becoming still enough to receive what I have already been speaking. My beloved child, peace is often the doorway through which clarity enters. When your heart is frantic, every option can look dangerous. But when my peace enters, the path may not always become easier, but it becomes clearer. You begin to recognize what is aligned with my character. You begin to know the difference between holy conviction and painful accusation. You begin to understand which voice is mine. I am teaching you to hear me. I am teaching you to trust the quiet. I am teaching you to wait in stillness without calling it abandonment. This is not a small lesson. It is the foundation for everything else I want to build in your life. My child, now I need to speak to something you have been carrying alone. You have not fully put it into words, not even to yourself, because giving it words would make it feel too real to face. But I see it. I have always seen it. You have lived under a weight that many people around you did not recognize. Not always because they were cruel, though some may have been, but because the heaviest burdens are often invisible. These are the burdens that do not show on the outside. These are the burdens you learn to cover with a steady voice, a controlled expression, and the practiced skill of seeming fine when you were not fine at all. I watched you do this. Day after day, I watched you enter rooms carrying more than anyone in those rooms understood. I watched you answer "How are you?" with words that were true enough to say, but not deep enough to tell the whole truth. I watched you smile while your chest felt tight. I watched you give while you were empty. I watched you encourage others during seasons when you were quietly losing your own footing. My child, I am not saying this to make you feel exposed. I am saying it so you know that nothing you carried was hidden from me. I saw the nights when your thoughts would not become quiet. I saw the grief you could not explain because you were not sure anyone would understand. I saw the loneliness that sat beside you even when you were surrounded by people. I saw the quiet ache of feeling that your life was meant to be more than what it had become. I know how many mornings you woke up already tired. Not just tired from lack of sleep, but tired from holding everything together. Tired from managing fear. Tired from managing disappointment. Tired from living between the life you were experiencing and the life your spirit knew was possible. That kind of tiredness reaches deep. It is not healed by one night of rest or by a change of surroundings. It is healed by what I am bringing to you now. And I want you to know this. The battles you fought inside yourself were real. The battles no one saw, the battles that left no visible marks, still cost you something. The courage it took to keep moving when you wanted to stop was real. The strength it took to trust after trust had been broken was real. The hope it took to hold on when holding on felt unreasonable was real. Heaven saw it. Heaven does not see and then forget. Say, I receive, if you believe heaven has been watching over your life. My child, I am asking you to place something meaningful into this work. Let it be an offering of faith, not something held back by fear. Let it be a seed placed into good ground, a sign that your trust rests in my ability to provide. What you release in faith is not lost. It moves ahead of you into the harvest I am preparing. My child, there were moments when you came very close to giving up. Not in a loud or visible way, but deep inside. Hope slowly withdrew. Expectations slowly faded. Your belief in what was possible for your life began to shrink. You did not tell anyone, but I felt it. I felt every quiet retreat. I felt every moment your spirit whispered, maybe this is all there is for me. Each time you reached that place, I stepped in. Not always in a way you could easily see. Not always in a way you could point to and call a miracle. Sometimes it came as a small breath of calm when fear should have increased. Sometimes it came through a word from someone who did not know what you needed, yet said exactly the right thing. Sometimes it came as unexpected peace when your situation gave you no reason to feel peace. That was me. I was moving in hidden places, refusing to let you fall beyond recovery. You thought you kept going only because of your own resilience. Your resilience is real, but it was being sustained by more than your own strength. I held you when your strength ran out. I carried parts of your life that you did not even know I was carrying. I walked with you in places where you thought you were alone. Nothing you endured was watched from a distance. Not one moment of your pain happened without my presence beside you. I did not stand far away and simply observe your suffering. I was with you in it. Because I was with you, it did not destroy you. It bent you. It caused you. But it did not break you completely. That was not luck. That was me. You carried responsibilities that were too heavy for one heart. You carried pain caused by people who should have known better. You carried guilt over things that were never your fault. You carried shame over seasons you did not choose. Layer by layer, these things covered your spirit until you could barely remember what it felt like to move through a day lightly. Still, you kept showing up. Still, you kept trying. Still, you gave others the kindness you were struggling to give yourself. I saw courage in that. Not the loud kind of courage the world celebrates, but the quiet daily courage of a person who keeps choosing integrity when it would be easier not to. That kind of courage matters to me. It is seen in heaven, even when it is not seen on earth. I am not finished with your story. I have never been finished with your story. What I am preparing to do next will help you understand much of what you have been carrying. This does not mean suffering should be glorified. It means nothing you have walked through has left my hands without being shaped into something that can serve your future. The hardest chapters of your life are not the final word. They are the ground on which something new is being built. My child, listen carefully to what I am about to say. Do not hear it only with the surface of your mind. Hear it in the deep place I have been drawing close to throughout this moment. What I am declaring over your life is not only comfort for today. It is a statement of what heaven has already decided. The season that has been wearing you down is over. Not someday. Not only after everything changes. Not after the right doors open, the right people arrive, or enough time passes. It is over. The long chapter that drained your strength, confused your direction, and made you question things you should never have had to question has reached its appointed end. I am closing it myself. What I close cannot be reopened by any person, power, or force. You may wonder how I can say it is finished when you can still feel the weight of it. I will answer you with truth. Some things end in the unseen before they end in your emotions. A season closes in heaven before your soul fully feels it on earth. Freedom is declared in the spiritual realm before it appears fully in the natural realm. Your spirit has already stepped out of what was holding you. Your emotions are still catching up to what heaven has sealed. The moment I spoke this word, the grip of that season began to loosen. The moment I declared the shift, darkness lost its authority over this chapter of your life. You are catching up to something heaven has already done. My child, no old battle will follow you into what I am opening next. What tried to destroy you in the last season has no permission to enter the season I am bringing you into. The fear that chained your thoughts, the confusion that clouded your purpose, and the heaviness that pressed on your chest at night have not been allowed to cross into your new beginning. I have placed a wall between your yesterday and your tomorrow. That wall was not built by your effort. It was built by my word, and my word stands. The relationships that drained you will not enter this new place. The cycles that exhausted you will not repeat in the same way. The voices that lied about your worth, your future, and your place in the world have been cut off from you. Not every ending was a loss. Some things fell away because they could not travel with you into the place I am taking you. I was clearing the road before you knew the road was changing. There were things you mourned that I removed on purpose. There were opportunities that died, doors that closed, and paths that ended, even though you pushed against them with everything you had. You stood before those closures in grief and confusion. You asked me why. Now I am telling you, those endings were not failures. They were directions. I was not withholding good from you. I was protecting you from what would have kept you from something better. My beloved child, a pruned branch does not look blessed at first. It looks cut back. It looks reduced. It looks like loss. But pruning is not punishment. It is preparation for fruit the branch could not have carried before. You have been pruned, and now you will bear what you could not have borne in the past. The enemy tried to make you see those endings as rejection. He tried to make you believe my redirections were proof that you were unwanted, unworthy, or forgotten. He tried to use closed doors to confirm your deepest fears about yourself. But none of those closed doors were rejection from me. They were protection. I saw what was on the other side when you could not. I loved you enough to say no, even when you were asking with all your heart. My child, carry this truth forward. I do not ignore the details of your life. I am not distant from your days. I am present in the specific moments, relationships, choices, doors, seasons, and changes that have shaped where you stand today. Nothing was random. Nothing was left to chance. Not even the most painful part of your story happened beyond my awareness or outside the reach of my redemption. The old season is finished. Your spirit knows it, even if your mind is still adjusting. Something has already shifted. The ground beneath you is not the same as it was before this moment began. You are standing at the beginning of something new. What I build in your life now will not look like the ruins left by the old season. It will be built on foundations the old season could not destroy because I am the one laying them. My beloved child, when heaven decides something about a life, earth begins to align with the decision. This is not just an image. This is how my authority works. I did not create you and then step away from your details. I am active in your story, and I am active right now. I am declaring an end to what has held you down, and I am declaring the beginning of what I have prepared for you. You walk through a long night, but every night has an end. The morning I am releasing into your life is not weak or temporary. It will not disappear the moment another challenge appears. This morning changes the quality of what follows. It is built on what I have declared over you, and my truth does not change with your circumstances. Walk forward differently from this moment. Walk knowing the chapter behind you has been closed by my hand. Walk knowing the season ahead was not prepared in a hurry. I have been preparing it for longer than you have been waiting for it. It is ready, and you are ready, even if readiness does not feel the way you expected. My child, I want to lift something from you now. I want to change the way you understand the battles you have faced. You have been carrying a story about those battles that is not completely true. A false story about your suffering can shape how you see yourself, how you see your future, and how much hope you allow yourself to have. Here is the truth. You were not attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you carry something darkness feared. Let that settle deeply in you. The pressure against your mind, the thoughts that told you that you were not enough, the voices that tried to make you quit, and the fear that rose where I had planted purpose were not random. The confusion that came at the exact moment you began making progress was not accidental. The sudden storms that appeared when something good was forming in your life were not coincidences. The timing of those hard seasons was deliberate, but that deliberate attack did not come from me. It came from the one who saw what I placed in you and wanted to stop it before it could grow. The enemy does not waste effort on what carries no impact. He does not fight what poses no threat. He targets what carries light, purpose, and future influence. He targeted you because he saw the calling on your life before you fully understood it. He saw the person you were becoming through the refining of difficult seasons. He saw strength forming in you. He saw wisdom developing in the places that hurt most. He saw compassion growing because you had walked through darkness and survived. That frightened him because a person with your story, a person who has endured what you have endured and still chooses hope, still reaches for faith, and still refuses to become hard, carries a powerful light. You thought you were barely surviving those seasons. You thought you were failing because the weight did not lift quickly enough, because the answers did not come when you wanted them, and because the battles lasted longer than you believed you could endure. But I tell you now, you were not failing. You were overcoming. The enemy fought you hardest because you were close to breaking through into the place he never wanted you to reach. My child, in your most difficult seasons, heaven was fighting for you in ways you could not see. When fear pressed against your mind at night, something held the line. When hopelessness tried to settle in your spirit, Something within you refused to let it fully take root. When darkness tried to convince you your story was over, something kept you reaching. That was not only your willpower. That was my hand. Angels moved on your behalf. Paths of destruction were blocked before they reached you. Moments intended to break you were redirected. You walked through seasons without knowing how much was being held back from you. You did not fall because heaven refused to let you fall. You thought it was only your endurance. Your endurance was real, but my protection was underneath it. You were covered in seasons when you did not know you were covered. Declare, I am chosen, if this truth is reaching a place in you that needed to hear it. My beloved child, the attacks came against your mind. Thoughts questioned your identity, your worth, and your right to hope. The enemy knows that a person who does not know who they are cannot fully walk in what they were created to carry. So he aimed at your identity. He tried to bury the truth about you under pain, disappointment, and silence until the truth became hard to feel, even if you still believed it. But identity is not decided by how clearly you feel it. Your identity was set by me. What I say does not dissolve because life becomes difficult. You are still who I said you are. Confusion, pain, failure, loss, and fear did not change the name I placed on you. You are mine. That has not changed. The attacks also came against your relationships. People who should have been safe became sources of pain. Trust was broken where it should have been protected. Community failed you when you needed support. I know how deeply that wounded you. Wounds from people who were supposed to love you well often go deeper than wounds from strangers. I know how those wounds can change the way you approach trust. But hear me clearly. I have not left your relational life in ruins. The relationships that were removed, whether through betrayal or because a season ended, are not the final word on love, friendship, and belonging for you. I am building something new in that area of your life too. What I bring will not repeat the pain of what you lost. It will be built on steadier ground that I have prepared. Every attack against you missed its final target. You are still here. You are still standing. You are still believing. The life I have called you toward is still possible. In fact, it is now more possible because of what you have walked through and survived. My child, I want to take you into a place many people avoid because it requires looking at your story in a new way. I want to show you the hidden side of what you thought were only losses. I want to show you what my hand was doing in the seasons that felt silent. You prayed prayers that were not answered in the way you asked. There were specific requests and specific moments when you placed something before me and waited, but the answer did not come the way you wanted. You may have believed I was not listening, or that I was listening but did not care enough to act. You may have wondered if something in you made you unworthy of the answer. All of those conclusions were wrong, and I am correcting them now. When I did not answer the way you asked, it was not because I was absent. It was because I was active in a different direction. My silence was not indifference. My silence was strategy. My no was not rejection. My no was protection. There were relationships you wanted to keep that I allowed to end. You prayed for restoration. You believed change was possible. But things did not change the way you prayed. You grieved that, and some of that grief may still remain. But my child, if you could have seen what I saw, you would have understood why those endings had to happen. You were asking me to preserve something that would have cost you more than you could afford to give. You were asking from the place of what you knew. I was deciding from the place of what I saw required to know. Those closed doors were not proof that I was far away. They were proof that I was near. I was close enough to your story to see what you could not see. I was active enough to move things before they could harm you more deeply. The pain of the loss was real, but the loss itself was a rescue, even when it did not feel like one. My beloved child, there were opportunities you tried to force open that would have led you into a smaller life. You would have given years to something that ended in exhaustion and emptiness. You would have invested deeply in a path that was not aligned with what I placed in you. You would have settled, not because you lacked desire or ambition, but because you did not yet know how to trust my work in the delay. So I closed those doors, not to frustrate you, but to free you from a smaller version of your life. The delays, the seasons when nothing seemed to move, and the times when forward motion felt impossible were not signs of neglect. I was working on layers you could not see. I was shifting people. I was arranging timing. I was preparing you in ways that required more than you realized. I was aligning the destination with the person you were becoming. You could not step into what I prepared until you had become ready for what that place required. The delay was not only about what you lacked. It was about what was still being completed in you and around you. My child, the unanswered prayers were not truly unanswered. They were answered differently, with wisdom that will become clearer as time passes. A day will come, and for some of you it has already begun, when you look back and understand why certain things did not happen your way. You will see how the no that broke your heart became the turning point of your story. You will recognize that the path you tried to force would have led you away from the life I was bringing you toward. I was not withholding from you when I redirected you. I was preparing you. I was not silent because I did not care. I was silent like a surgeon who is focused, intentional, and working carefully instead of explaining every step. My silence was active, not passive. I was present. I was working. I was fighting for your future in places you did not know existed. My beloved child, every part of your story has been within my sight. The answered prayers, the redirected prayers, the open doors, the closed doors, the seasons of abundance, and the seasons of waiting. Nothing slipped through the cracks. Nothing was lost to chance. Nothing in your life is beyond the reach of my purpose. So begin to release the grief you carried over closed doors. Let the anger you felt toward painful endings soften into trust. Not because those things did not hurt. They did. But because the one who allowed them was not distant or careless. I was present and purposeful. My purpose was your good, your protection, and the fuller life I was preparing for you. You are not someone who was abandoned and redirected carelessly. You are someone who has been led carefully and intentionally by a love that did not flinch, even when it had to say no to what you wanted in order to say yes to what I had already prepared. My child, this is where the turn begins. This is the moment when what is behind you stops defining what is ahead of you. This is the crossing point, not a future one, not one that requires more proving, more waiting, or more striving. This one, right here, in the breath you are taking now. As these words settle into you, I am restoring you. I am not merely restoring you to who you were before the hard seasons. That version of you did not yet carry the depth you carry now. I am restoring you to the fullness of who I always intended you to be. The clarity you lost is coming back. The confidence that was worn down through years of fighting battles you did not choose is being rebuilt on ground that will not shift. The peace that was taken piece by piece through disappointment, loss, and fading hope is returning to you in a measure that matches what you surrendered. Joy is coming to you. I do not mean a surface-level happiness that disappears under pressure. I mean a deep-rooted joy that can exist even when life still has hard parts. It is the kind of joy that comes after mourning and still knows how to dance. It is joy that has passed through fire and come out stronger than the fire. Rest is coming to you. Not only physical rest for a body that has been running too long, but soul rest that comes when you stop carrying what was never yours to carry. You're setting down outcomes you cannot control, the approval of people who were never meant to define you, and the pressure of a timeline that was never in your hands. I am helping you let these things go. As you release them, a rest unlike ordinary sleep will enter your life. It is the rest of a soul finding its ground again. Your sense of identity is returning. The long seasons of questioning your worth, purpose, and place are behind you now. What I say about you is not canceled by what those seasons tried to say. You are not defined by the moments when you were confused, afraid, or alone. You are defined by the word I placed over you before the storm. That word has not changed. The people you love, the ones you carry in prayer, and the names hidden deep in your heart are also seen by me. What I am doing in you is not separated from them. Peace that enters one life often moves outward. Restoration that begins in one heart rarely stays in that one heart alone. What I give you will travel and touch others in ways you may not fully understand. Trust me with them as you are learning to trust me with yourself. My beloved child, the life I am opening before you is not a copy of what you lost. It is not a repaired version of old hopes made to look new. It is something I have been building since before you reached the end of your own strength. I know exactly what this life is meant to hold. I know who it is meant to reach. I know what your spirit was created to carry. I know what will bring you alive in a way striving never could. You do not have to force this life into existence. You do not have to engineer every detail. You do not have to understand every step before taking the first one. You only need to walk with me. Stay close enough to hear me. Stay open enough to follow when I lead. Stay trusting enough to rest in the steps you cannot yet see. That is all. That has always been all. My child, you have endured a long night. But as you step forward, understand this. You did not survive those seasons just to return to ordinary living. You survived them to enter something your spirit always knew was possible. The ache you felt for more was not restlessness. It was truth. It was pointing toward the life I was keeping for you while the storm did what storms do. The storm is finished. The life is here, and I am right beside you as you take your first steps into it. My child, a life no longer defined by struggle may feel unfamiliar at first. Peace can feel strange to a soul that has lived too long in difficulty. Let that strange feeling settle. This is what it feels like when the weight finally begins to lift. You do not have to earn what I am giving you. Open your hands and receive it. Declare, I trust you, Lord. If you are stepping forward into the new season I have opened for you today, we are supported by viewers like you. For exclusive member-only content, please scan the QR code or check the pinned comment. God bless you. My child, as this message comes to its close, let your heart remain open before the Lord. God has spoken tenderly today, saying, don't break my heart, because love that hears must also respond. You were not brought to this message only to receive comfort. You were brought here to become part of the comfort He sends to others. Somewhere, another soul is about to face a night like the one God just carried you through. Somewhere, a person is praying for one sign that heaven has not forgotten them. Your giving can become the path by which this word reaches them. Scripture says, give, and it will be given to you. But here it is God speaking now. My child, when you release with faith, I release back with fullness. Your super thanks and PayPal support help keep this mission moving, so more hearts can hear God's voice when they need it most. The PayPal donation link is in the video description. and the QR code is also shown in the video for those who want to give directly. Do not see this as a donation only. See it as seed, as fire, as oil poured into a lamp that must not go out. I am inviting you to stand with my word while there is still time. Every message produced, every prayer spoken, every soul reached carries the fingerprints of those who helped send it forward. Heaven sees the giver who gives quietly. Heaven remembers the one who supports the work when no one else is watching. I speak blessing over every person who gives today. May lack lose its grip. May peace enter your home. May doors open that no enemy can shut. And may your seed speak for you in places your feet have never walked. Let your love become action. Let your gratitude become obedience. Let this final moment become a holy response. Give through Super Thanks or PayPal now and help carry God's word to the next heart He refuses to abandon.